Your Journey to Healing, Reaching Women with a Desperate Cry is an 8-week Zoom seminar in which Kamala and Winston help women to start living their best life by rediscovering the image of God in their life. Kamala, a licensed marriage and family therapist, joins her husband of 16 years, an ordained pastor, to marry the clinical and the spiritual. You will begin living your best life filled with love, joy, and peace. Register at kwministries.net for this life-changing seminar.
So anxious resistant. So remember there were 4 categories, right?
Mm-hmm.
So anxious resistant kids were on the opposite end of the spectrum. They didn't have a lot of self-confidence. They really clung to their caregivers, whether it's parents. When I say caregivers, I mean parents, grandparents, just old people in their lives who were, really part of that initial bonding experience. For these kids, they tended to have really exaggerated emotional reactions to stuff, but they also kept the distance from their peers. How did this translate into adulthood? That translated into anxious, preoccupied adults. Mm-hmm. And so they kind of formed less secure bonds with partners and feel really desperate for love and affection.
God is patient. God is kind. God is long-suffering. God never fails. God always hopes. God always trusts. God always perseveres. God doesn't envy. God doesn't boast. God doesn't seek his own, but is always seeking what's best for you. God rejoices in the truth.
That's right.
God doesn't define love. God demonstrates love.
Good evening. Welcome back to Monday Nights with KW. I hope everybody out there is excited to be here. I know that we are.
I am so excited that it's a Monday night. And we're not Mondaying anymore, Kamala. We're celebrating and we're thankful for Mondays now. So let me go ahead and
Absolutely.
ask you, what are you thankful for?
Oh my gosh, so many things. I am thankful that our transition to another state is pieces are not falling in place. They are being put in place by God.
Intentionally being put in place by God. So what are you thankful for?
Absolutely. I am thankful for a home. I am thankful for my license. I'm thankful for getting to see my husband tomorrow. I'm thankful that not too long from now, our transition will be completely over.
Still June though. But no, we're grateful and we're thankful.
We are
I'm
grateful.
praising God also. I'm thanking God for the people who took the time out on their Monday night to come hang out with us. And now tonight
Absolutely.
is going to be an amazing treat. I have been so looking forward to this discussion for ever since our friend and former guest and future guest, Dr. Love, told us about this idea, and I'm so super excited. But we're so happy that you would join us on a Monday night because if it's Monday night, you're live with KW. And the reason we're here is we want to share our our journey of struggle, our journey of pain, and our journey of healing. No, not healed, but healing. It's a journey, it's a process. And along the way, we've invited people to share their journey with us. How has it been so far, Kamala?
It's been really inspiring. I was actually thinking about a young lady that we had on early on, Danielle Little. She was talking about her experience of going through graduate school.
Hmm.
And one of the things that struck me then that continues to strike me is that the life transitions that we go through, the experiences that we have are so many and varied, but as
Hmm.
many and varied as they are, there is always somebody who benefits from hearing from somebody else's story because it's relatable. And I don't think tonight is going to be any different.
I think tonight a lot of people are going to benefit. I think tonight a lot of people are going to hope and vision and dream. But before we go there, let me just give a quick shout out to the members of the Northwest Louisiana Adventist Ministry that I know is out there. I know Sister Remo is out there. I know Sister Electra is out there. I know you all are out there. So please comment. Congratulations, Sister Chambers, and Sister Remo, you won Dr. Washington's book, and you both told me you received it. Congratulations! And we want to say thanks to all of our viewers. I know Dr. Love is on, and I know her husband's on. So thank you all very much. We really appreciate you. Now we want to give away stuff tonight, but the way you get the stuff is you got to talk to us. You have to interact. I thought somebody would have said hello by now. That means your dad's
Hi,
not on here,
Dad.
Kamala. Oh, he is there? Oh,
Yes.
there he is. I can't, this screen does not allow me to, if I look down, it's gonna be too obvious. I can't really see what's going on down there. So good. Hey, Brother Glenn. Yes, please tell us hello, comment, ask questions. You're in for a real treat. This is going to be really. Dr. Hay, welcome. Dr. Hay, we continue to grieve with you, but we continue to celebrate with you because we look forward to the resurrection. We look forward to when Jesus will come. I knew you were
Look
there,
forward to
Dr. Love.
love.
I knew she was there. All right. So welcome everybody. Let me introduce our guest. Our
Before you
guest.
go there,
Yes. Oh
before
yes,
you
yes,
go
yes, yes.
there,
Kamala has to get your
let
money.
yes, indeed. So just like my husband said, to win tonight, specifically, you got to comment, ask questions while we're here chatting. But if you don't win, that doesn't mean you can't be a winner. So all of you lovely people who are commenting right now, I want to encourage you to head over to www.kwministries.net/shop. We have so many great products there just for you. or just for somebody in your life that you might want to get a gift for. So don't hesitate to go to the website.
And let me say this quickly, Kamala. A really, really, really good. We've been getting feedback from the seminar, Her Journey
Yes.
to Healing. Now, it says Her Journey to Healing, but it's great for couples. It's really,
Yes.
really, really, really good. And you want to you want to check that out. It's worth the investment. All right. Can I introduce our guest now? This
Go
will
for
be
it.
the fastest you've ever seen in your life. All right. I am so excited to have with us tonight Command Major Sergeant I don't I messed it up, didn't I? All right, help me.
Command Sergeant Major. There you go.
Command Sergeant Major Mauvet Rawls. And we are so excited to have her. First of all, you need to know we're about to talk to a brain, okay? On entering the military, she was a chemical, biological, radiological, and nuclear specialist. That's who we're going to deal with tonight, okay? Let's be clear.
It's pretty
We're going to
impressive
deal with
now.
pure Black excellence. She has a master's in public health. She has an undergrad in accounting, finance and accounting. She hails from the beautiful island of Jamaica, and she's a mother, and she is a hard worker, and we are super excited to have her with us tonight. So if we could bring her in and let's get this party rolling.
Hi.
How are you doing?
I am doing well. Yeah.
How was your Monday?
Meetings, more meetings, and then I just decided to leave so I could come home early and take care of the kids before I get on with you guys. But yeah, sometimes you just drop the ball and say, okay, I'm done, and just leave.
I get that. What are you thankful for today?
What am I thankful for? Other than the obvious, right? All the kids and husband and supportive husband and family, and I just see them popping up with their comments, all the way from Jamaica. Hi, Jen. I am actually thankful for this moment. It is outside my comfort zone, but I'm thankful for it because it's gonna give me experience, right? It's like okay, now you can't say you've never done that before.
And we're gonna have fun.
So thank you, Dr. Love.
You call her Shelly Ann, though.
Yeah, I actually love the Dr. Love.
I kind of like it too, to be honest with you.
Dr. Love, and she studied the heart, so that's just great right there.
It is. Any niceties, Kamala, before I jump in, before we dive off? Are you ready?
Go for it. Go for it. We're ready.
So Shalene and I were talking. Tell us what cadet is.
Okay. So before I get to that, I have to read my Army disclaimer. Right?
Okay.
So the lawyers now.
Yes.
So everything I share here, I'm not here to represent the entire Army. If anything I discuss about the Army is just based off my experience in the Army. I'm not representing the entire Army. I don't speak for the entire Army. And if I talk about just general things that's not in my experience, it's typically things that you can find online, like, what is a chemical operation, specialist? You can Google that and figure out the definition of it and a description of it. So go ahead with your question again.
No secrets here.
No.
Oh, man. All right. What is a cadet?
Oh, a cadet. So when I was in Jamaica,
tell us from. Yeah, there you go. Never mind. Go ahead.
Yeah. So when I was in Jamaica, we had cadet, and my best friend, called him by his last name, saying he was a cadet, and I used to go watch them march, and it was just, I don't know, it's like seeing a whole 20 or plus people just moving in unison.
Mm-hmm.
For some reason, that was very intriguing to me. Like, how do you get people to just move as one, stop, halt at the same time? And so, I just kept watching them. But a cadet is just, it's like in America, it's a ROTC, right? It's you're training to possibly be a soldier one day, or you do it as another activity in school. Like you have 4-H or here we have a Girl Scout and Boy Scout, so it's just something to do, to give back service to the community. And some of them they end up joining whichever military assigned to their country, and move on. But in Jamaica, when I was there, I wasn't allowed to. Girls weren't allowed to join at that time. I think 1 or 2 years later, after I left, girls were able to join. And but I used to be a part of a 4-H club. Different time meetings, so I would always get to go watch the cadets march.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right. You said
I've got a
something.
quick
Okay.
question. So I'm imagining you as just a little girl outside of this fence, right? Just looking at the cadets marching. And I heard you say that, at that time, that wasn't something that was accessible to girls. What was it
Good
about
job.
watching that kind of display that prompted that desire within you? Where did that come from to pursue something that didn't seem to be available to you?
Mm-hmm.
I think again, it's the organization, right? It's like just seeing how they move, and I don't know if it's the uniform thing that we're in Jamaica, but then the cadet was also uniform, so you all dress the same. Other than different rank structure to separate, each cadet, it's just one team, right? And other than the marching, is just the things they did. They go out and they support the community, or it brought in a different type of discipline. Because teachers in Jamaica really discipline you, right? And your parents even worse. And so cadet was like another structure. But for me, it was just the marching. It was, and that kind of carry on to where I am now. But that was
Drill.
the thing. That's the drill and ceremony. That's what I remember. That's the one part I remember.
Now, let me follow up on Kamala's question real quick, because I think there's something very important here. You said that girls were not allowed at that time. Why were you so bright and up to think that you would be allowed to do it one day?
Why not? Right? To me, your only limit is yourself.
Yes.
Hashtag number one.
Society may have their limitation, right? Like, okay, girls can, males do this, females do this. Society have those things, but someone will eventually come along and knock that down, or somebody will give permission to make it a co-ed thing. But other than that, your only limitation is yourself. You don't try it because you don't want to. You're afraid. You don't have the resources, but your limits is yourself. And I just thought it was cool. And until that event, I can't remember anything else that we were boy girl didn't do in Jamaica. I remember we had a soccer team. Well, football, the real deal, right? So we have a football team at Descartes College, and I was in, I think first, second, and third form. Those were the times I was there. See my Jamaican kind of mixing up my English. But the 3 years I was there, the girls, we had to play with the boys because we didn't have enough boys in our grade. It was always a co-ed team, and I don't think we won much. We didn't win much, but we were co-ed then, so why not?
Yeah, why not?
When did the idea to pursue military come to mind? So we like the uniform, we like the marching, and I wanted to follow up on something, but we'll get it later on, because I know it'll come back. The move as one. I want to come back to that later. So we like that, but when did this idea of becoming a military person, when did that come to mind, and how?
So when I was in New York, in 96, probably before then, I think it was like 95, 96. I had a recruiter that came to the high school, and he talked about the military, and in New York we didn't have a ROTC, so it kind of brought it back, right? Like, okay, the army, and so it brought back the whole cadet idea. And I remember the recruiter came to the house, and if I remember correctly, I remember him coming to the house, and I don't remember if my dad said it, but he probably did in his heavy Jamaican accent, not joining no army. But I remember him saying, "I'm not joining," and so I did what the good girl in me did, and I went to college. And I was studying biology, right? Because everybody was either a doctor, a lawyer, or what was the
Teacher.
other? Yeah, teacher. So I went. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go be a doctor. I like to see blood and things, and so I'm gonna go be a doctor. And I was in college, and I don't know, college didn't seem as easy as high school. Never studying, but still getting straight A's. It just seemed as easy, and something just wasn't right. But a recruiter stuck around. Like he was still calling, like, hey, and then by then, because when I graduated high school, I was 17, so I had to get my parents, signature to actually join if you're 17. And so he came around, and I don't even know how it happened, but then I would go do PT with him, physical fitness. And eventually I told him I'd sign up. I went home and told my dad, and he's like, yeah, whatever. You're not joining the military. I joke about it, but he's like, you love to sleep too much, and which I do. I love to sleep. You have to get your rest. And I think when I didn't come home that night, he's like, yep, she's really in. But I didn't know. I joined the army because I loved the drilling ceremony, but I really love my thing was I want to go travel. It's not just marching around, right? You have to want more. So I'm like, I want to travel, and it all just ties in. And then one reenlistment led to another, and in June it'll be 26 years, and I'm like, how did I get here? It doesn't even feel like 20.
Yeah.
Can we, for a second, can we talk about you're not expected to, you won't be able to. That little girl standing at that fence, looking on those marchers, those boys who would become men marching, to this brilliant young lady that now enters this man world of the army. Share with us some of your coping strategies, some of the skills you employed from childhood. That idea that only you are your limit to overcome some of the obstacles. I don't know if there are any stories that you can share with us.
Well, I would say, one of the things that I tell soldiers all the time is, if someone's in your way, if somebody's trying to hold you back, what I did was, in the army, you earn rank, right? The rank you have determine the position you're going to fill, right? You're going to be a supervisor, you have to be a certain rank. And so I tell soldiers, I had one NCO, non-commissioned officer, who he was just, I feel like he was just not the greatest leader I had at the time. He really wasn't even my leader. He was just someone else who was in our platoon, which is, in a platoon, it's a group of people, maybe 30, and you have 4 squads or however many, and then you have leaders for each of those squads. So it's kind of like you have the whole thing, then you break it down into squad roles. And I didn't think much of him because he was the epitome of what not to do, and yet you're in charge of me, right? I was 2 levels down from him, 2 rank down from him. So he was at E5, I was at E4. So that's a sergeant and a PFC. And my determination was, if I want to get out of this, I need to outrank you. And so I worked hard to outrank him. And I had a very good squad leader, which now I wish I had sent him this link. But I had a very good squad leader. He was from Guyana. And when I met him, he just kind of laid things down like, okay, you need to be doing all these things. And I followed what he said. And then my goal was to outrank this guy. I did leave before I outranked him. But then I saw him years later and I outranked him. So.
Come on, I know you have a question there.
A lot of what I've heard so far from me comes back to this idea of having the discipline to continue to do no matter what is happening around you.
Yes.
I heard that, what's the word I'm looking for? That appeal for discipline when
Yeah.
you were watching the cadets march.
Yes.
I heard
Yes.
that discipline in just even as you entered college and said, you know what, I'm gonna do this, even though I have this desire to do something else. There's that discipline that I heard there,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm hearing it here as well, where gosh, here's this experience, here's somebody who outranks me, but instead of just responding to that in maybe a petty way, right? Instead, you tell yourself, you know what, the way forward is around this. I'm gonna create more discipline, more structure for myself so that I can achieve what I need to. And I really love that I hear you highlight that because I think it's such a relatable concept, not just for the military, but for lots of people in lots of
Life.
different life areas. Where starting with what you said, you are your only limit. If I can see myself beyond where I am now and work towards it, I can see success.
Mm-hmm. 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 The what not to do was in charge of you. Speak to somebody right now who the person that's in charge of them is not is basically what not to do. Talk to that person.
You know, whether it's the army or just life, right? Um, Knowledge is power, right? And when I say knowledge is power, I don't mean I have all the knowledge to have all the power. It is people around you have the knowledge, and it makes you more powerful, right? You do better when you know better.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Mm-hmm.
for on my side of the world, because knowing that this is the only career I've had. I graduated high school, went to college 4 years, joined the army. 26 years later, I'm still here. So I don't know what really in life is gonna feel like.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like soldiers now, I tell them read the regulation. The army have a regulation for almost everything. If I say everything, I'm probably not even exaggerating. And so I said, know the regulation, because when you're gonna tell a person to what's the politically correct way to say when I'm gonna say it when I'm gonna say something that my mom be proud of me of, but when you're gonna tell someone to go suck an egg, you want to make sure that you have the knowledge, right?
Right.
There's a regulation that tells you how to wear your hair. This is not it. That's not it.
Mm-hmm.
There's a regulation that tell you how long your nails can be. It tells
Mm-hmm.
you what just anything. And so you educate yourself so you can have that conversation. And there's a lot of resources, right, that backs you up. Whether it's about the EO, it's about a promotion, you have all that. You have to know it, because if you're just going to go with someone who says, well, I think you can do this, I'm like, that I think is not my favorite word. We should be able to, not my favorite word. So you educate yourself. And again, it's same with a civilian. You're in a workplace, you want to know what your HR can do for you. You don't want to ask the next person, right? Because if the next person is there to take advantage of you, they're going to give you false information or information that kind of help them out. So I would say to that person, know know the regulation, the rules that governs whatever it is you're doing, and just know that someone's always looking, right? Someone's always watching, which kind of probably why I am so a rule follower, is because growing up in Jamaica, even the taxi driver, they know where you live, they know who your parents are, and they're always watching, and tell on you. So
I love it. I love it. I love it. Brother Glenn said the sky's the limit when you put your mind to it. I have you talked about traveling, and you have done some traveling, and you have an award for the Iraq campaign. What was your strategy? And we already see your drive. We already see your determination. We already see that you're disciplined. What was your strategy when you were in difficult situations? What was your strategy to survive difficult situations?
just knowing that the people around you are the people you have to trust. You have to trust.
Pause, please, Muhammad. Pause 1 second. Why am I pausing her, Kamala?
So I'm gonna go ahead and let you know that the reason that he's pausing here is every single time we have had one of these conversations, at some point, the importance of the relationship you have with people around you has always come up. So now we're about to hear it in your context, which is a different context than we've ever had the conversation, and yet here it is again.
And I think that's just so critical for those of you who are listening. We need people. We need each other. Go ahead, ma'am.
So yeah, so deployed to Iraq, and you go in a vehicle, right? You start out with a chaplain saying, I think it's Psalms 23, the soldier's prayer. Don't quote me on that, right? But he'll say a prayer for you, and then you have the person who is in the turret, which is where you have the heaviest gun on the vehicle. You have that person, you have to depend on your driver, and everybody in the vehicle have to be on alert, right? You're driving around, you have to be paying attention. It's not time for you to take a nap. It's not time for you to, didn't really have good phones over there because, we're in Iraq. But it's the people around you. As a drill sergeant, it takes all of us drill sergeants to be able to train soldiers, and you can't keep an eye on all of them, so you need help. But yes, the people around me is the best. When I was in Korea, we weren't in like a hostile environment, right? We weren't getting shot at or anything like that. But when you go off the installation, if I'm going with a Katusa, and a Katusa is a Korean, it stands for Korean Augmentee to United States Army. So it's a Korean soldier who, Koreans have to serve, I think, 2 years in their military, and some of them they'll serve with the army. And if you're going with them or you're going with another soldier, they're watching your back. They're making sure that, you're not going into any area you're not supposed to. You're coming back before curfew. But all around it, you just have to trust the people around you, and you have to know the ones that you just can't trust, because there are those people out there that you just can't trust. But depending on the people around you, I think that's the most important thing.
Go ahead, Kamal.
How do you develop that level of trust with the people around you? What's the process for that, and how do you know when the opposite exists? There's somebody around that you can't trust.
For me, when I meet people, right, 1999, actually, I was in Korea, and I was told by my first sergeant, he said, things that are important to people is their time, their money, and at the time their mail, right? Because you in Korea, you
want to hear from somebody,
and that was the mail with a stamp on it, not something you send digitally. And so I value those things, just the same. So when I had time as a leader, when I had the opportunity to let my soldier take some time to just, okay, hey, y'all did great this week. It's Friday morning. Clean up the motor pool, which is where we store all our vehicles. Make sure there's no oil on the ground and stuff like that. Clean it up. You're done for the day. They remember that. When you go to the field and you work hard and you come back early and you say, all right, we're done for the day. When it's the soldier's birthday, right? My thing was, you get your birthday off, your spouse's birthday off, or an anniversary. You don't get all three, you'll get one, right? And so showing people that it is more than just work. You build trust that way. When they ask you a question and when they come to you with something that is personal, it's between you, them, and God, right? The only way, we have rules in the military, so I will get help if you're talking about homicide, suicide, anything that it's a life or death. I have to get help. And so when knowing that you can tell someone your deepest thoughts and they keep it to themselves, that's important. And that's like where I build the most trust with soldiers. And when I say I'm going to do something, it's not lip service. I do it. Now, how do I get the ones? How do I weed out the other ones? Those are the people when you ask them to do things, they don't do it. When you hear other people talking about your entity and they're the one going out there and spreading your business, those are the people you start watching. And then when you're asking for things to be done and it is, what do they get out of it? Those are some of the traits that I know that I know that those people are not necessarily, on the same team with you. And then the other part is just sometimes people just straight up show you that, I'm just in this, right? I'm here for the moment and I'm just here. And we get soldiers 2 to 3, on average about 3 to 4 years, and we rotate around. and so you know those people.
How do you deal with? You spoke about your soldiers. How do you deal with those who? She's a foreigner. She's a female. She's not one of us, but she is in charge of us. How do you deal with those attitudes?
So I don't know what it is. I think a part of me is oblivious to the like stuff like, you know, the anything female or color. Color. I think I'm oblivious to that because in Jamaica we're all Jamaicans, right? Chinaman, Jamaican, right? You just call it Chinaman. We call everybody, whether you're from China, Korea, anywhere in Asia, you call him Chinaman, right?
Right.
And so, you know, you have that white guy in Jamaica with dreadlocks. You know, you have the coolie. We're just Jamaicans, and so for me, I never see. It's naive, but I never see color. There's things that happen around me, and people are like, you know, that's because you are black, or that's because you're a female. And I just didn't see it because I'm looking at how do I do the right thing? How do I take care of people? And I don't pay attention to that. And the other thing, when I'm not smiling this much, I don't know why I'm smiling this much, but I have one of those faces, right, where people are like, "What's wrong with you? Like, who are you mad at?" You know that resting face. Um, and so I think that's probably a deterrent. Like people don't mess with me. I've had one soldier who tried to well, not try to. One soldier in my career that blatantly disrespected me. And I gave him many opportunities. Like, listen, we do a one-on-one talk. I will explain to you what you did wrong, how you need to fix it. I'll write it in counseling. And then if none of that works, then I will just put it in your evaluation. And depending on how serious you put in evaluation, it's the difference between a promotion and not being promoted. That was the one, and people tell me it's because you're a female, and I'm like, I don't need to walk around and tell you at the time that I'm the boss. By my title, I'm in charge. So I tell people like, you're not gonna win. The Army have this thing where we say, they say rock paper rank, right? So whoever have the highest rank. I never had to play that game. I'm like, we know where we stand in this pecking order. So you either listen or you're you suffer consequences, and actions have consequences. And I say, you do what you what does I say? Do what you can afford. So
Hashtag do what you can afford. That's powerful. Well, let me ask you, could you expound on that? That's really good. And talk about that, not just from the perspective of a military, but talk to us about that, about life. Because that's something that's a mantra I'm going to put on my office. I'm going to put on my desk. Do what you can afford. But say some more about that. Explore that some more.
What, do what you can afford?
Do what you can afford.
In society today, right? I say we need people. There's just people who don't realize that, or they don't want to accept it, or they think they can go at it on their own, whether it's good, bad, or indifferent. But we make decisions, and that whole personal accountability is a problem, right? Something happened and we blame the other. Well, these people did that, and that's why we end up where we here right now. Those people did that, and that where's I did this, or that individual did this. So, when I see stuff like that, my husband and I will look at each other and be like, yep, do what you can afford. Because if you're going to make a decision that you want to, go up in a high school and you're a 15-year-old kid and you want to go up there and shoot up a school, you're saying that I'm accepting what comes to me next, which may mean I'm going to be charged as an adult. My kids are 5 and 7, and I'm like, okay, actions of consequence. You do what you can afford, and they can't afford much, but they're being taught that even at their young age.
I think that's so important.
I really like how you talked about that accountability, and I think Bags is probably somebody that you know well, that person said, do what your rank can handle.
Yeah, that's why I started smiling. Like,
but
yeah.
but I really can agree and kind of relate to that idea that for a lot of us, even if we look at our own personal experiences, sometimes we're not willing to take that accountability. We're not willing to say, you know what, here's what I did and here's the consequences, good, bad, or indifferent. And it really is a matter of, taking that ownership and, recognizing it for yourself, and like you said, being willing to do what you can afford.
Yes.
Let me ask you something. So there, mental health is a really big deal in the military. I'm listening to you, and from our conversations, texting, and listening to you, you have been able to remain balanced. How have you been able to remain mentally healthy, and how do you keep your soldiers healthy?
Well,
It's a
for
great
me,
question.
I know, right? For me, I would say, honestly, I met my husband in 2001. I came in the army in 97. So do the math. I think that's what, 4 years. So I always have him as a balance, right? If I'm doing something at work, he's like my instance, right? So I'll go to him and say, hey, what do you think of this, right? If I'm like, am I being too emotional about this, and he kind of help with that. um Other things I've done, especially in the recent years, I find myself on Audible, like I'm looking at all these self-help books on how do I communicate better with people, how do I improve myself, right? um and so I've been on that, and I would tell you, I hear feedback, but I would tell you that the other thing is weird, but they say that not just in a marriage, but also just in general. What are the things we worry about is what? Money. I don't even remember the other ones, but money is the biggest one, right?
Yes.
Money cheating on you and whatever it is. But in 2003, I became, um before that, debt free, and it's like I feel like I'm on cloud nine. So finance is never in my head, and that's never a problem. And then, as far as my soldiers go, I would say talk. I always tell them, talk it out. Talk to somebody, and that's if you don't want to talk to me because you're worried about the position I'm currently in, find somebody you can talk to. If you gotta go outside and talk to a tree and just get it out your head, talk to that tree and explain your concerns with it. But I encourage them to talk. Find somebody to talk to. If you don't want to talk to no one, journal your thoughts. I'm a believer that if you keep it in your head, right, you just stew on it. The what ifs you played out. Because I'm a person, I would play out something from today to 10 years from now. And so you have to stop yourself from going down that. And, this year would be 11 years, 2012 to now. Um, can't do math. 11 years. I experienced a loss, and multiple, a double loss. And I realized that I couldn't control it, and I kind of slowly build that into my life. Like, there's just things that you can't control, and you just gotta let it go. It doesn't always work out, but overall, I'm like, okay, I can't control that, so no sense in dwelling on it, right?
So you're telling me that if I go to the tree and begin to express myself and let the tree become the object of whatever it is I'm saying, I'm not crazy.
You're not crazy. It works for some people.
And that's actually healthy
Yes, you just gotta talk it out.
because
Like,
I'm getting it out.
yep.
All right, hashtag get it out.
That is Mauvet's unprofessional and yeah.
Actually, no, I don't know that. Kamala, talk about the chair at the center of the room chair.
If I jump in here, I will go ahead and validate everything that you just talked about,
Yes.
because you're absolutely right. We have a tendency to stew. We will ruminate over something until we've worked it out. And something that I tell a lot of people, I say this to clients, I say this to people that I've oriented to jobs. the number one thing that we find ourselves saying is, man, that didn't sound the way it sounded in my head at all. Because we go through a whole different process. When I take it out of my head and I put it out there, whether it's to the tree, somebody else, or if I'm journaling it, I have to process that differently. I have to put that into reality. I have to take it out of this abstract world where anything is possible up here, right? And put it into the real world and go, this actually doesn't make as much sense as it made up here. So I think what you said is so crucial.
And so if somebody's out there, you're listening to us, and we can be our own worst enemies. We tell ourselves stuff that's not true. We make up stories, or we believe lies that other people tell us. Don't keep it up there. Let it out. And you heard, write it down. Talk to somebody. Just talk to the ear. Talk to a tree. Let it out. Don't keep all that stuff bottled up inside. It's going to kill you. Watching the march as a little girl, how did you know they were moving as one? Did you recognize it then, or is it from being in battle, having to move as one? Relate the two experiences for me. Standing at the fence and seeing them moving as one, and then in your career, instructing people to move as one. Relate the two. Which one came first? When did you observe it first? There, or you look back and you're like, oh, they were moving as one?
So I wasn't outside the fence looking, and I was sitting on the grass watching inside the fence. Yeah.
I like her.
So it's funny, like if you like the way the British Army, which is I think where we in Jamaica we got our movement from.
Yeah.
We move different from the U.S. military. The way we march, we march different. But when you stood at the side and watched those soldiers moving, it's like if they're all get my hand right, if they're all like this, and when they bend, all their body just move. If you're standing, okay, parallel to them, I think that's right, and you look over at them, all you see is the people on your right next to you. If all of them is moving as one, and when you're marching, you have this command called change step, which means that if I'm saying left, 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 and someone is on their right, when I'm saying left, they're on right, I do change. It's not change step. Change step is what they use, but I could give that as a command to everyone. But that person who is doing the right when I'm saying left, they can individually do a change step. Like I could give the entire formation the command change step, and they'll all change step. The right foot will strike first rather than the left. So unless someone's out of step, and everybody just move as one. So then, people like, why is marching so important, right? Other than for parades and looking good, why is it so important? It's like a buildup of discipline. You learn to march as one. You then learn, it builds up on the discipline you have in you're in battle. And if your job is to make sure that you dig the foxhole, battle, sure, war. If your job is to dig the foxhole, that's what you do. If your job is, and you have to wear a Kevlar, right, to protect your head. That discipline from just marching, it tells you that, hey, you don't not wear your helmet, you wear it. You clean your weapon, you carry your weapon, and we all like, when you wear this, it's called a LBE or a flat vest or different. Over the years, there's different terms for it. What you have all your ammunition and your magazines attached to your vest. We all carry our medical pouch on the same side, right? Carry your ammo in the same pouch. And there's a reason for that, because if everybody know where it's at, if I go down and somebody need my ammo, they know where it's at. Like, hey, where's it at? Oh, I forgot it. It's in my back pocket. It's already in my bag. No, we're the same. So the marching, it's discipline, and it's discipline, especially in the Army at its core, because the first thing we teach soldiers to do is how to march. And they realize how much when you move as a unit, what that looks like, and the discipline and the pride in all that then led you to start doing everything in unison when needed, or just you're just doing your part that comes together and kind of build a more cohesive team and a better organization.
This is good. I have a question for you. Well, I have two questions. Kamal's gonna kill me. I have two questions. The first one is, as you know, as a pastor, the principle I'm pulling from that is there's a text in Corinthians. Don't quote me. I'm not a, but there's a text in Corinthians that talks about the body being one. We need the head can't say it's more important than the feet, and the hand can't say it's more important than we all need each other. That's the principle that comes out. What I wanted to ask you is this united, this moving as one. How important is that in the civilian world?
Honestly, so like right now, I work with a lot of civilians, right? I work with more civilians than military. And you can see the difference in the way we operate, right? It's like in the army, where because we move as one, it's like you almost could predict the person's next move, or if you don't, if what you're looking for is not within that person's scope of duties or scope of responsibility, because we know the format, the next level, who you want to talk to, right? If you come to me about something and I can't answer it, the next person you should go to. At least if you're paying attention to what you've been taught, you'll know the next person. On the civilian side, you have this structure of, okay, I'm not going to speak for all civilian workplace, but you have this structure of, I know what I need to ask for from the next person. But when you go to them, are they going to have the answers for you? Or are they going to shove it off to somebody else? And so that's something that, with the civilians here, but at the same time too, it's kind of jaded, because the civilians here, they work for the federal government. And so, there's a lot of things that they already do kind of in unison, that it may be even different. So like, you have the military, then the federal government, then the civilian. And I think the whole structure and discipline, I don't want to speak bad of anyone, but it may differ, right? The Army, the highest structure, discipline than the DOD, because they work so close to the Army and covered by all these rules and regulation, and, a little bit probably more structured than a traditional civilian workforce. So it can all work, I think, all work in the same, but it also go back to, that respect you have for people, right? And how to take care of people, and just doing your part. If your job is, as HR, is to know everything about any human resources, and you're doing that, you're taking care of people when they come to you. If you're pawning it off, you shouldn't have that job, because you're not fulfilling what you're paid to do.
You're not moving in unison.
Yeah. We have a great question that came in from Dr. Hay that I think kind of goes along with what we were talking about. So she asked, how do you separate your personal life from your professional career? And do you apply these disciplines to your personal life? For example, moving as one, as a family.
Very good question, Doc.
I just let my husband run the family side. Personal and professional, I would tell you, we talk a lot about work-life balance, right? And in the military, we say you're a soldier 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. When I leave work, I put my work phone by in a certain place in my kitchen, and I may tap it as I pass by to make sure nobody's emailing me, no emergency. And the other part, I say, if it's an emergency, you're going to call. If you think that's an emergency is the best way, I feel sorry for you, because I would tell you, hey, I wasn't near my computer. So I have that work-life balance. I've always done that as a soldier. I don't know how it started, or if it's, like my dad said, I love to sleep, so I kind of like my personal time. So if I'm away from work, I set up my out of office. I'm out of office, reach this person, and I had trust that that soldier or whoever, that leader, will take care of business. So I had that. And I try, as far as like, especially the discipline, is for our kids to be disciplined as in, a parent expect their child to behave properly, but I try not to be militant, right? I'm not
Mm-hmm.
like kid drop and do push-ups. Um, ROTC, but I try not to be militant, so not to be just too hard, because
Mm-hmm.
they're not soldiers. So that part of it, I would say. But then the other part of it is, um, with my husband, he's a retired soldier, but you also keep that balance. When I come home, it's like I can vent, and after that, it is all right. Now it's we have conversation like normal people, where it's not revolved
Mm-hmm.
around being a soldier. So I think that's what
Mm-hmm.
helped with the balance.
We have some really good questions coming up. Let me ask you something real quick. You said something earlier that I want to, and you can just wave me off and we'll move to the next question if you want to. But you said something earlier that I wanted to come back to. You said, and you just said it in passing, if I drop, they'll know where my stuff is. Death is a real thing for you. Death is real for your people. How do you how did you reconcile your this is my job, and it's a very dangerous job, or this is my job and here's one of the possibilities of my job, death.
So for me, I deployed once, and during my deployment, I didn't personally know anyone who died, and I deployed in 2008 into '09, and I know soldiers were still dying during that time and after that time. But where I was in Iraq, I personally didn't know anyone who died out of our organization, or personally knew anyone. But we did have, it was a brigade, so we did have soldiers who died. For me, I think I just, fine. I joined Army voluntarily, and so I know that it's a possibility, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's a 50-50. You go to war, it's a
Mm-hmm.
50-50. You make it out or you
Mm-hmm.
don't. And for me, I think I didn't I didn't think of, I may die in this country. I more of think of like, okay, I've been trained on how to handle a lot of things, right? My part is I pay attention to where we go. I make sure I clean my weapon all the time so it doesn't get jammed if I have to use it. I do all the right things, and I'm like, the Army trained me for this. Teach you how
Mm-hmm.
to shoot your weapon, dress somebody if they get shot. They teach you how to evacuate a vehicle if you need to, how to, if you have to carry someone by yourself, the Army, you go to classes on how to do that, and you go to drills on how to do that. And then other than that is like, you know, just believing that, you did all the things. Me personally, I
Yeah.
did, I did right by people on this earth. If I meet
Mm-hmm.
my maker and say, okay, how did you live your life? And I'm like, well, I gave to people. I'm human, so we all judge people. I try not to. I treat people with dignity and respect, and then he'd be like, okay, you may pass and go into happy clouds, or for all eternity. Then I'm like, well, I lived the best life I thought I was living, and so it is what it is. But when it comes to like soldiers and experiencing death, for me, it's like talk to someone and
Mm-hmm.
telling people, oh, you'll get over it, or you'll get over it, or you get, it's like it's your new normal, right? You something happens significant in your life, it's your new normal. It is, things have changed, and as people, we have to acknowledge that when something significant happened in a person's life, things have changed, and now you have to meet them where they are. you know if you want to, I don't know if the word broken is, it's too demeaning, but wherever, you have to meet them there, and you have to help them there.
Yeah.
And sometimes all you're doing is talking to them, or sometimes you're just sitting and listening, and never say I know what you're feeling when you really don't. But
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's good. That's good. Dr. Love asked, what advice would you give to a young girl interested in the military?
I would, funny, I was talking to my husband about that last night. Not a young girl, but just people now coming in the Army. I still love the army, and like society, right? The army have changed from 26 years ago when I first joined. But any young girl coming in, I would tell them, know your regulation, fight for yourself, know, speak up. The army have forces, right? Some of the right, it's not we are that people who support the army deal with these civilians or soldiers. They're aware of the resources out there for reporting, harmful behavior, harassment in the workplace, anything sharp, which is sexual harassment response program, and I missed one of them, is SHARP. Sexual harassment, assault, and response program. Got to get it right, just in case somebody decide to check this out. But we train them on all those. Those are resources, and so my thing would be make sure you're tracking all of those, and then when it comes to training, give it you all. Don't leave anything on the table. Go out there and do it all. And if it's something you want to try, like the Army have opened some combat MOSs to females, go try it. And what if you don't make it? Try it, but don't walk away be like, oh, I wish I couldn't have done that. And just say, trust yourself, and you don't have to prove anything to anyone. Be you. You don't have to prove nothing to nobody, because when people try to prove things, that's how you end up doing things that, over time, you're wearing your body out. You want to go to a 100-mile ruck march, and then after that, you have a hip stress fracture that then lead to a broken hip. And, it just, the only person you need to prove anything to is yourself.
Wait, were your children born in the service? Yes, because you met your husband 4 years in.
Yes. So she said where, I think. Where, okay, yeah.
Yeah,
yes, they were born in Maryland and Texas.
And then what was it like so you're in the service, what was it like 4 years in? What was the difference having a family and not having a family while you're...
I told you I have a good work-life balance, right? So
right, you did.
So on that side, it didn't change,
right.
And they're young, so I haven't had to leave work yet for anything. But I'll tell you, on 17th of May, I'm going on a school trip, and I put it on my calendar. And there's some scheduled things that came up on my calendar, and I was like, nope. I say I'll be out. I told the principal I'll be there, and that's where I'm going to be. So far, the good thing about it is, good and bad, I guess. Good thing about it is I had kids when I'm older in the military, so I haven't faced the backlash that some people do. But I've seen it where soldiers, like, they're not allowed to leave. And again, those are one of those things where you're like, no, you taking care of people. You want to say you want to take care of soldiers? Taking care of soldiers means you allow me to go be with my family.
Yes.
I've had it where with soldiers that, if I know that their kids are school or with them a task, I will tell a single soldier, hey, I need you to go accomplish this, and then I'll compensate them, right? Like give them a day off. So it's not like, oh, you just task me and you don't want to task the people with kids. I task you, but I also give you downtime. So I see Shelly and ask if one of my proudest. Go ahead.
Yes, go ahead. No, go ahead. Answer that question.
My proudest accomplishment. My proudest accomplishment.
She's hoping
the time
you
I've
will
been in the
say
army,
being her sister.
I didn't think that bigger. Yeah, that too. I am proud of my sisters, all of them. How many of them? 5 of them, and all my 3 brothers. It's a lot of people, right? But I look at my career, like people, they're like this in the army, and I'm like, I just lived. I just kept signing up. I just keep doing my job. But I think one of my, it's not necessarily a specific thing for accomplishment, but I think that just the way I am with people, people are always the focus. And I just feel like that is something that I do better than a lot of people I've seen recently. I put soldiers first, and it's like my heart just bleed for to take care of them. You know, I want to make them the best people they can be. I want, you know, the best for the army, and that's just my thing is like, how do I get people just to be their best all the time and to be happy? And it's wishful thinking, but you know what? If I get 2 out of 10, I'm happy for that. And I know I don't have any regrets.
I hear that. I feel that from you. I feel, Kamala, don't you hear and feel that she genuinely cares for her people?
Absolutely. I think I've heard that from the very beginning.
Yes.
Compassion,
Yes. Yes.
care,
Yes.
intentionality.
Yes.
I've heard all of those things tonight.
From the building
and,
trust. From the building trust.
Absolutely.
Piece. Yes. Yes. Thank you so much. Listen, you have made our night. You have made our night. This has been a wonderful discussion. Dr. Hayes said earlier, powerful nuggets are right up there. Powerful nuggets. You have given us a whole bunch of hashtags to last probably 2 weeks. So we thank you so very, 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 very much. Let's see who won. And again, I want to say thanks to everyone that came on. Thanks to everyone that came on to support Mauvet. We're so grateful to you for coming on. We're so thankful for you. Let's see who won our gift tonight. Oh, I was hoping it was going to be bags. I was hoping it was going to be. Thank you so much for coming on and supporting. We're so grateful for you. Please head over to KW Ministries. You gonna put that up? And
.net/claim your prize.
Yes, kwministries.net/claim. There it is. Claim your prize. Give us your information, and we will tell you exactly how to get your gift card. And we hope that you get one of those amazing products that we have in our store. If you didn't win, those who didn't win something tonight, please head over kwministries.net and shop till you drop. We're so grateful to you for coming on our program. I know this is not something that you are just jumping to. I just want to talk to people. But I think you have taught us so much. I'm walking away from this with love my members. Want the very, 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 very best for my members. That's what I'm walking away from this with. And I'm so grateful to you for that.
I wanted to jump in and say, you mentioned, if people didn't win tonight, and I just want to say, I feel like we all won.
I think we all won.
This has been a great conversation.
I think we all won. So thank you so very much for coming on.
You're welcome, and thanks for having me. And I would love to know who Bags is. She
I thought this was your person.
No, I think. I don't know. The Bags, it kind of remind me of a person, but I'm not sure that's who it is. But
is that your husband?
I would say, using some. It says your mother-in-law. But yeah, but I appreciate the opportunity. I really do, and this was awesome.
Would you come back?
Yes, I would.
Oh, good. We will set it up.
I love it.
Thank you so very much for coming and hanging out with us and talking to us. Let's get you and Dr. Love to come back together and let's watch that conversation. I think that would be fun. And I've been trying to get Stacy, and she refuses to respond to me. I've been trying to get her on to talk about sex therapy. But hopefully she's watching and she heard that, so she knows I'm trying to get her. All right. Thank you so much. We really, really, really appreciate you. Hey guys, if it's Monday night,
you're live with KW.
She got it right this week. Peace, y'all.